Welcome to another episode of the Southern Boating Podcast. I'm Ian Sneed.
I'm James Anderson.
And today our episode is going to be covering NOAA's Atlantic hurricane season outlook
For 2025.
for 2025.
This summer.
Yes.
As in it's already hot enough, it feels like summer.
Exactly. So make sure that you pay attention the whole way through. We have information that's going to benefit you pretty much the whole way through. This is going to be a more educational, informational based type of a thing. Less, our opinions or, our thoughts on this or look at these boats. It's more about your safety for the upcoming summer. Now, before we get started, remember to subscribe to the channel, click the like button and click on the bell icon so that you're notified anytime a new video comes out.
So let's kick it off.
Let's kick it off.
Right away, just got the report fresh today.
Right
before we walked in here. It looks like we're going to have, for what they're predicting, an above average season. They're saying 13 to 19 named storms, which I think 14 is right on par. Between 14 and 15 is about the norm.
Right. And then for named storms, that means that they are greater than 39 miles per hour.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So tropical storm and stronger, right?
Right.
All the way through category 5. So saying 6 to 10 hurricanes, named hurricanes. Mm-hmm. So that is a little bit above the average as well. The average is right around 6 to 7. Okay.
And speeds on those is just above 74 miles per hour.
And then 3 to 5 major hurricanes. So this is going from category 3, 4, or 5. And that's, again, just a little bit above average. Mm-hmm. But again, once again, above average. And as you will update us with the what constitutes a category 3.
Wind speeds higher than 111 miles per hour. And they have about 70% confidence in presenting this.
I've lived in Florida so long, I can remember back when I was a kid, we didn't have much confidence. Mm-hmm. And we charted these on a paper chart a lot of times, right? They give you the latitude and longitude, and that's where you knew what it was during that update.
Yeah.
Right? Now we have all of this great technology, which NOAA even talks about in today's update, that there is, again, new advancements on the technology, a lot of new things coming. So you do want to check out NOAA's tracking website for hurricanes, what's been advanced this year.
What's great is it's like every year they go and they analyze and they adjust and they improve because they want to make sure that everyone is safe. So we really appreciate that. And these storms that we're talking about, they run hurricane season, which I know most people are aware, but just for posterity's sake, runs from June 1st to November 30th. And in this case, 2025. But that's generally what's considered hurricane season. So those storms that we just talked about, that's when you can expect them.
Right. So I'll let you touch on why they feel it's going to be an above average storm.
Before I jump into that, I do want to point out, I think a lot of people think that storms are just a coastal problem, right?
No, it is not.
Right.
Absolutely
Which
not.
we saw last season. There was a lot of inland flooding. There was a lot of inland problems that happened from the storms that made landfall. And you pointed out to me before we got on and started recording that it's not just the land-based communities. It's the lakes.
Correct. So we have, so last year we had a couple of lakes that saw some significant issues or damage due to some of the storms that pushed north. Some of the lakes up in Tennessee, Georgia, and in the Carolinas too, like Lake Norman that stretches between North Carolina and South Carolina. And these areas also were, as we all saw on the news, experienced quite a bit of flooding. You do have to protect yourself from that. But don't think just because you boat in a lake like Lake Norman that you don't have to have some sort of a hurricane plan in place. You should, absolutely. Even though you are far inland, you can still have significant damage due to a storm that's striking and pushing inland.
Right.
So, and that's the flooding, that's the winds, that's everything that goes with the storm.
Projectiles, yeah. So to touch on what you mentioned about why we're seeing an above average, season, warmer temperatures, warmer sea surface temperatures in the Atlantic, Caribbean, and what was the last one? The Gulf of Mexico.
Gulf of Mexico.
Correct.
So we've seen, from what I read and what I was watching earlier today on the report, that our Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico have already higher than average sea surface temperatures.
Right.
But there are some spots within the Atlantic that are a little below average. And that might be a little bit of our saving grace from having a crazy storm season.
Right.
Where it's really highly active.
Yes.
But then also into effect is and correct me if I'm wrong, but I read that the trade winds are not as strong.
I wouldn't be able to correct you.
Okay. So, I guess I did a little bit too much reading at this point in time.
I think that was right.
This is where
but
true Floridian comes into play, right?
Yeah.
So we did read that the trade winds are not going to be as strong this season, which has an effect as into the wind shear might not be as strong. So allowing storms to actually strengthen faster or sooner while they're far out in the Atlantic, because they're not going to have some shear due to the trade winds. So this could mean that we do have some strong storms with some high winds coming into play. So you got a little bit of a bonus with the Atlantic not having the above or average sea temperatures just yet, but we also then have the trade winds that may allow these to actually grow and strengthen a little bit further, because they're not going to have that shear effect. There's some positives, there's some negatives, and it is what it is. That's what we have to take. But the most important thing to us doing this for you guys is for you to understand being prepared.
Being prepared early.
And early, yes. Having everything in place, your hurricane plans in place, and that goes into what are you going to do with your boat? Last year, we covered a lot of this in a podcast, but we also have an article that goes over a lot of this that has a lot of hurricane preparedness. And that's one of the things that I want to get into just a little bit to refresh everybody's memory, because it is extremely important to have a plan in place.
I do remember recording that episode.
So some of the things that we talked about is deck maintenance. Deck maintenance means checking all your deck scuppers, right? Making sure that they're free and operate properly, so your deck will drain properly.
That's right.
That's extremely important. Ensuring water tightness of seals. So make sure that those seals are operating properly.
Right. Or if you have a canvas for something that's a little more open air, that the canvas is actually secured properly.
Right. Battery maintenance. When a storm is approaching, make sure that your batteries are charged properly, because your bilge pumps could operate off your battery.
And you don't know when you can get back to your boat, depending on whatever damage there might be in the area, right?
Right. Also making sure that your bilge is going to be clear of any type of debris. You want to make sure that you just do a thorough check before you leave your boat when a storm is approaching. Reduce windage. Anything on your boat, you mentioned it already, anything on your boat that can actually catch the wind and use it kind of like a sail, try and reduce that as much as possible. So any type of canvas is taken down, any type of bimini tops need to be taken down.
Right.
Those are really important things. And then the most important one, as I'm going to say it, is securing any loose objects.
Yes.
Right. They can take flight during a storm.
That is so crucial, because the last thing we want is projectiles that can cause damage to other property, to other vessels, to your vessel, to people. Like it's a big problem that I think a lot of people like overlook in the rush of, I'm preparing for something that's coming in that I wasn't expecting to prepare for, which is why we say prepare early.
Right. It's preparing early is going to minimize the amount of work you have to do when the storm's approaching, right? And you're going to have a plan, so it's going to be much more effective. But that's also including any type of furniture that you might have that's loose on the deck, right? Any type of cushions, fishing gear, any water sport equipment, anything along those lines. What you can take off of the boat for that type of stuff, take it home with you for the duration of the storm so you don't run the chance of losing it. Remove valuables. This is really important, and one that I think a lot of people overthink. We already talked about removing your fishing equipment, but registration documentations. Any type of documents that you're keeping on your boat, take those home with you during the storm.
Also, anything that might be swiped. Like, you
never know after a storm. There's people rummaging around. You don't want to lose your stuff. And then environmental safety stuff that you can do. Any type of portable gas tanks, take them off the boat, take them home. Oil containers, paint cans, anything of that nature that you wouldn't want to spill into the waterway, take it home.
Yeah.
Right? Let's just be smart and safe, and it helps everybody when we come back after a storm.
No, it's great that you brought that back up, and I will look for that video to see if I can link it as a card.
And there's a couple more. You want to make sure that you lock the boat. If you can, leave a set of keys with the dock master for after in case they need them, and they update all your contact information with the marina that you're storing your boat at. Because if they need to get in touch with you, you want to make sure that they get in touch with you at the appropriate. You don't want them calling an old phone number or emailing an email you don't pay attention to.
Yeah, or you don't even have anymore.
Right. So those are just some easy steps to get through the hurricane season. It's fastly approaching. We're in May right now. The report is out. It's just something we want to pay attention to now. But the most important thing is, if you do all of this stuff, it'll be much easier to go back to having fun on your boat after the storm. Until next time, I'm James Anderson.
I'm Ian Sneed.
We'll see you next week. you bothered today? You seem bothered today.
I'm actually not. No.
You sure?
Yeah, like it's from this point forward in the day, it's just like put your head down and grind. So that's it. I'm just putting my head down and grind.
Can I plate up some of my stress for you?
No.
Why not?
Because you have way more than I need.
Thanks.
Bro, I'm honest, man. Like I know you got a lot, dude. Like I don't.
My plate is over freaking flowing right now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. You could tell me about it after, but for now.
Yeah. After the fact too.
No. I mean, after we record. Yeah, after we record.
After we record. I was like going to say. I thought you were saying like, yeah, tell me about your stress after you work through it. That'd be great. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks.
What can I say? What are friends for?